Let's put our acquired tools and knowledge to the test by creating our very first Vue.js, shall we? Today, we're diving into the exciting world of building a Vue.js app from scratch. So far, we've learned how to set up the Vue.js development environment, ensuring we have Node.js and NPM installed. We created our first Vue project and explored its structure, launching the app to see Vue in action. Additionally, we introduced Vue Router, adding navigation capabilities and dynamic routing to our application. And let's not forget, we celebrated our achievements and got ready to delve deeper into Vue's ecosystem in future lessons. Now we'll be diving into the creation of a fully fledged application with a focus on building its components, managing state, and crafting a neat user experience. Are you ready? Let's jump in!
The figure illustrates a side-by-side comparison of two ratings, importance level and ease of use, for 5 core items used when building a Vue.js application: Vue CLI, Node.js, Vue Router, single-file components, and Vuex. So, as we look at the bars, we see that Node.js scores the highest in importance, sitting at 90. But interestingly, it has a noticeably lower ease of use rating at 70, which suggests, that while it's considered essential, it seems a bit challenging for newcomers. Now, Vue CLI, on the other hand, shines with a very high ease of use score of 90, though it carries a slightly lower importance rating of 85. This indicates that the CLI is viewed as a fantastic productivity tool, really simplifying those day-to-day development tasks. Next up, Vuex and Vue Router register high importance scores of 88 and 80 respectively, along with good ease of use ratings of 80 and 85. This highlights them as both valuable and reasonably approachable tools for managing state and routing within an application. Now, single-file components? Well, they sit at the bottom with the lowest combined ratings, an importance of 75 and ease of 65. This shows that they come with a modest learning curve, despite their essential role in organizing component code. Overall, we can see a pattern emerging here. While tools like Vue CLI can dramatically lower friction in your workflow, foundational technologies, especially Node.js and state management with Vuex, they truly deserve some focused attention owing to their high impact on any project. So, let's prioritize learning the environment, routing, and centralized state management concepts, just as we've emphasized in our lesson.
Now, let's implement the command to create our new Vue project. When you execute Vue create my first app, the Vue CLI sets up a new directory named my first app specifically for your project. It'll prompt you to choose a preset, and if you're new to Vue, I recommend going with the default option. This makes things simpler and helps streamline the setup process. After that, we'll navigate into our project folder using cd my first app. This step is crucial because it ensures that all subsequent commands are executed within the context of our newly created application. Next up, we'll take a closer look at the folder structure inside the source directory. This directory includes a components folder where you can neatly store your reusable Vue components. The app.vue file serves as the root component and is responsible for the overall structure and content of your app. Plus, main.js is your entry point. It bootstraps the application and allows all components to work together seamlessly. Understanding this structure is key. It'll help you manage your code effectively as your application grows. Now, let's run our Vue application to see it in action. To do this, we'll execute the command npm run serve in our terminal. This command kicks off the development server, which lets us view our app live. When it's successfully executed, you should see a message saying that the app is running on http://localhost 8080. Opening that link in a browser will bring up the default Vue welcome page,
confirming that everything is set up correctly. This is an important milestone, as you've just set up a Vue project with a hot reloading development server, allowing for real-time updates to your code without the hassle of refreshing the page manually. So, take a moment to appreciate this foundational step in your development journey. It's where the magic begins, setting the stage for building more complex functionalities and components in your application. It's a powerful start towards creating dynamic and interactive web apps with Vue.js. Next, we will modify the app.vue component to replace the default content with a welcoming message. We'll first begin with the original template, which consists of a div containing the Hello World component. This setup allows you to display a custom message by passing props. Now, to enhance the user experience, let's transform the template. We'll include a header with a simple greeting and a brief description of our application. By integrating this change, we maintain a clear structure while conveying the essence of our app to users. Now, let's take a look at how we can implement this change, ensuring our app.vue displays a welcoming header alongside additional context. The updated template will feature a header element housing an h1 tag for the main message and a p tag for the description. This new structure not only improves readability, but also introduces semantic HTML elements, which are quite beneficial for accessibility and SEO. Once you've made these changes and saved the file, you can witness the real-time updates in your browser, a testament to Vue.js's hot reloading capabilities, allowing for a seamless development workflow. Now, let's introduce dynamic behavior to our application by adding a data property and a method. We'll begin by enhancing our script with a data function that returns an object containing welcome message, which initializes the greeting displayed in the HTML. This will allow us to manipulate the message dynamically based on user interaction. Next, let's write a method called changeMessage. This method will update the welcome message to a new string when triggered, showcasing Vue's reactivity by allowing changes in the data model to reflect instantly in the DOM. Now, let's see how we can adjust our template to utilize the welcome message. We'll replace the static heading with a dynamic binding using double curly braces, which allows Vue to automatically update the displayed message as the data changes. Additionally, we will include a button that, when clicked, activates the changeMessage method. This setup will enable users to interact with our application, providing a more engaging experience. Once you've implemented these changes, testing it in the browser will illustrate how seamlessly Vue manages reactivity and updates the view based on user actions. Now that we've got some interactivity going, let's take it up a notch by adding components to our application. First, we'll create a new file named message component in the components directory. This will help us encapsulate our message functionality. So, imagine this component beginning with a template that contains a div element, right? Inside this div, we'll have a heading displaying the message and a button that allows the user to change this message when clicked. Now, to make things more dynamic, we'll define a prop called initialMessage to enable those dynamic values to be passed to our component. This means that our component can be reusable with different starting messages, which is super helpful. Within the data function, we set up a reactive property called message, initializing it with initialMessage. This little setup ensures that every time the component is rendered, it reflects the message passed in. And wait, it gets better. We also define the change method to update the message when that cozy button is clicked. This is where we really see Vue's reactivity in action. So cool, right? Oh, and we include scoped styles to give the component a distinct appearance without messing with global styles. This way, our components remain visually cohesive and simpler to manage. This modular approach not only organizes our code, but significantly enhances maintainability as our application scales. Now, let's incorporate our new message component into the app.vue file to enhance our application. First, we need to import the component at the top of the script section. By doing this, we ensure that our app.vue has access to message component, which allows us to use it within our template. Next, we will add message component to the components list in the export default object. This step is crucial because it registers message component, so Vue recognizes it when rendering the application. Now, let's proceed to update the template section. We'll swap out the existing header for our message component, passing along a prop called initial message. This prop allows us to initialize the message displayed in message component with a value of hello from the app component. By implementing this, we modularize our code effectively, enhancing both readability and maintainability. Finally, after saving our changes, we can take a look in the browser and see the message rendered from message component, along with a button that users can interact with to update the message dynamically. This really demonstrates the power of components in Vue and how they can improve user experience and code organization. Now, let's implement state management using Vuex in our application. First, we need to install Vuex by executing a command in the terminal. This step adds the package to our project. Once it's installed, we create a new folder called Store right within the source directory. Here, we'll set up a central store file, and we'll name it index.js. All right, in this file, we define the Vuex store using the createStore function. We start by initializing the store with a state object that contains a default message. This state will hold all the data, or, the information we want to manage across our application. Next up, we introduce a mutations section where we define a method called changeMessage. This method allows us to update the message stored in the state. Oh, and mutations are super essential because they ensure we change the state in a predictable way. After we've established the store, we need to export it for use in our main application file. This lets us access our centralized state from any component across our app. This structure not only streamlines data management, but also strengthens the maintainability of our application as it scales. Next, we will write the code to integrate Vuex into our application by modifying the main.js file. Here, we start by importing the necessary modules from Vue and our main app component alongside the Vuex store that we just created. So, we're going to invoke createApp, passing in the app component, and then we'll chain on.use store. This step allows Vue to utilize the Vuex store for managing state all across our application. Finally, calling .mount HPP attaches our Vue instance to the root DOM element designated by HPP, which effectively initializes our entire application with Vue and Vuex. Now that Vuex is set up, let's shift our focus to enhancing the message component to make full use of this centralized state management system. To get started, we're going to import map state and map mutations from Vuex. These tools will allow us to easily map state variables and mutation methods right to our component's computed properties and methods. By implementing these helpers in the component, we can directly access the message state within our template, which gives us a dynamic display that truly reflects the current state. Additionally, the button in our template will trigger the change message mutation, letting us modify the state right from the component. This demonstrates how Vuex effectively enables state sharing and mutation across all of our app's components. Save your changes and head back to the browser. Now, when you click the button, the message should reflect the change from Vuex. This is key because it enables a centralized data management solution for your application, making it easier to track changes across various components.
By this point, we have successfully built a dynamic Vue.js application with components and state management using Vuex. We've designed our app to include interactive features and have modularized our code for scalability. This approach not only enhances the performance of your application, but also simplifies future development and maintenance. So, that's pretty exciting, right? Now, let's implement some global styling to enhance the visual appeal of our Vue.js application. We'll create a styles.css file in the src folder to centralize our styles. This way, we can maintain a consistent look throughout the application. In this CSS file, we'll define styles for basic elements like the body, giving it a clean font and a soothing background color to improve readability. Next up, let's add specific styles for headings, particularly H1, to apply a vibrant color that'll really grab the user's attention. Furthermore, we'll target the .message-component class to style the individual message components we created earlier. We will set padding for comfortable spacing, a contrasting background color, and rounded borders to soften the design. This unified approach to styling not only enhances aesthetics, but also makes it easy for us to implement changes as the application evolves. Finally, we'll include the styles.css file in our main.js, which acts as the entry point of our application. This inclusion will apply our defined styles globally, making every part of the application visually cohesive. By combining these elements, we create an engaging user interface that retains usability while looking polished.
A little styling can go a long way in enhancing the user interface. It's crucial for creating an enjoyable user experience in any web application. As we wrap up, remember that building your first application is just the beginning. Now that we've covered the basics of Vue.js, like components, routing, state management, and a bit of styling, you should feel confident enough to tackle more complex applications on your own. I mean, it's really exciting to think about what you can create next.
Vue.js has such a vibrant ecosystem, and there's so much to explore. I really encourage you to dive into some of the advanced topics, like the Vue router for those complex routing scenarios. It's really a game changer. And then there's Vuex, which is fantastic for larger state management tasks, making your app more robust and organized. Oh, and don't forget about the Vue Composition API. It gives you such a flexible way to build your components, which is just awesome for scaling. Thank you for joining me in building your first Vue.js application. I can't wait to see what you create next. Let's keep that momentum going and continue exploring the possibilities with Vue.js together. Happy coding!